Picture two guys, Victor and Trevor. Same age, same neighborhood, both turned 40 on the same day. Nothing handed to them, no inheritance, no lucky breaks. By 55, Victor is free. He wakes up without an alarm. He chooses what to do with his day. Money works for him while he sleeps. Trevor, still grinding, still checking his balance before every grocery trip, still calculating how many more years he has to work before he can finally breathe. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The gap between Victor and Trevor didn't happen at 55. It happened at 40. Most people think of their 40s as middle age, a checkpoint maybe, a crisis, maybe just more of the same. But financially, your 40s are the most powerful decade of your entire life. And most people, like Trevor, wasted without ever knowing what they had. Here's why this decade is different. In your 20s, you had time, but no money. In your 30s, you had some money, but also debt, kids, life chaos. But in your 40s, if you've been even remotely intentional, you start to have both. Income is higher, the kids are a little older, the panic of early adulthood starts to settle. That combination of time plus capital is rare. It only comes once. Compound interest starts doing serious work in your 40s, if you fed it properly. Albert Einstein reportedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he said that or not, the math backs it up. If you invest $500 a month starting at 40 with an average 8% annual return, by 65, you're sitting on roughly $475,000. Start at 45, that same $500 a month becomes roughly $295,000. Same contribution, same rate, 5 years apart. That's nearly $180,000 lost, not because he made a bad investment, just because the clock moved. Victor understood this at 40. Trevor told himself he'd start next year. So if the 40s are this powerful, why did Trevor arrive there completely unprepared? 2 words: lifestyle inflation. It's the silent thief nobody talks about at dinner parties. Trevor got a raise, he got a nicer car. He got a promotion, he upgraded the house. His income grew, and somehow every single year, his bank account stayed roughly the same. And the terrifying part? It felt like progress. He was earning more, living better, but underneath the surface, his net worth was barely moving. There's a psychological term for this: hedonic adaptation. The more you have, the more normal it feels, and the more you need to feel the same satisfaction. Trevor wasn't getting richer, he was running faster just to stay in the same place. By this point, he'd built an entire life around his income: the mortgage, the car payments, private school tuition, the vacations that felt necessary, all tied to what he earned, not what he owned. So when someone asked Trevor, "What if you stopped working tomorrow?" the honest answer was terrifying, because without that paycheck, everything collapses. That's not freedom, that's a gilded cage. Victor looked at the same paycheck and made a different call. So what did Victor do differently? It comes down to one shift in mindset, and it sounds almost too simple. Victor stopped asking, "How much do I make?" and started asking, "How much do I keep, and what does it do while I sleep?" That single question changed everything for him, because income is a job, assets are an army. Every dollar Victor put to work in index funds, in real estate, in a high-yield account was a tiny soldier working on his behalf 24 hours a day. The goal wasn't to earn more soldiers, it was to deploy the ones he already had. This is where the FI number, his financial independence number, became Victor's obsession. Your FI number is the amount of money you need invested to live off the returns indefinitely without ever touching the principal. The most widely used formula is the 4% rule. If you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year to cover your living expenses, you are financially free. So if you need $60,000 a year to live, your FI number is $1.5 million. That sounds enormous, but knowing the number gave Victor a target, and targets change behavior. Trevor never had a target. He just spent what was left after bills. Victor had a number. Victor had a plan, and by his mid-40s, that plan was accelerating. So what were the actual decisions that separated Victor from Trevor? First, the mortgage decision. Both were mid-mortgage in their 40s. Trevor refinanced, pulled out equity, and renovated the kitchen. It felt smart. The house looked great. Victor looked at that same equity and saw something different. He saw capital. He redirected it into income-producing assets. One move built the cage tighter. The other built the exit door. Second, the retirement account decision. Victor maxed his 401k every single year without exception. He also used the catch-up contribution available to people over 50, an extra $8,000 annually, a lever Trevor didn't even know existed. Trevor was contributing just enough to get the employer match and calling it done. That gap, compounded over 15 years, is the difference between options and obligations. Third, the income diversification decision. Victor knew one stream of income was fragile. One layoff, one health scare, one company restructuring, and everything built on that single stream collapses overnight. So while his career was still strong, he built a second, dividend-paying index funds, then a small rental property. Nothing flashy, just consistent. Trevor told himself he'd diversify eventually. Eventually never came. Fourth, and this one's uncomfortable, the social spending decision. Victor and Trevor ran in the same circles, same friends, same invitations, same pressure to keep up. Victor said no, quietly, without drama, more often than anyone realized. He skipped the destination birthday trip. He drove the car an extra 3 years. He didn't announce it. He didn't post about it. He just made the call over and over again. Trevor said yes every time because nobody posts their brokerage balance on Instagram. They post the trip to Cancun. And here's the part that stings the most about Trevor's story. He wasn't irresponsible. He wasn't reckless. He worked hard, paid his bills, and by every outside measure looked like he was doing well. But looking like you're doing well and actually building wealth are two completely different things. And Trevor never stopped to ask which one he was actually doing. Victor asked that question every year, and the answers changed his life. Victor wasn't choosing between fun and misery. He was choosing between fun now and freedom later. Trevor chose now every time, and at 55, he's still choosing now because he has no other option. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Victor and Trevor weren't separated by luck, not by talent, salary, or the neighborhood they grew up in. They were separated by decisions made quietly, consistently, across a single decade. Victor didn't have a magic moment. He had 1,000 small moments where he chose the asset over the expense, the plan over the impulse, the future version of himself over the present one. And here's the part that matters most. You're not listening to this by accident. The fact that you're here, asking these questions, thinking about this, that's already more than most people do. That's already a decision in the right direction. Your 40s are not a warning. They're an invitation. The window is open. The math still works. The compound interest is still waiting, but it will not wait forever. Victor or Trevor? The question isn't which one you've been. It's which one you decide to be starting right now, today. If this episode hit different, if Victor and Trevor made you think about your own 40s in a way you never have before, subscribe to Sketchinance. Every week, we break down the money concepts that actually move the needle in a way that makes them stick. No fluff, no hype, no gatekeeping, just the honest stuff that actually matters.